Welcome back to the HeySue Podcast. Most of you know that on September 9th, my new book, Never Asked for the Sale, comes out from Hachette. I hope you've pre-ordered it at heysue.com/pre-order. Just so I can stay on theme, thinking about sales as much as I am right now, I wanted to turn my podcast attention to great sellers, people I think embody many of the tenets of passionate ambivalence and how they sell. This is a hand-curated group, and I think you'll understand when you hear them talk about their approach to growing their business, why I chose them. So you also may want to know that this podcast now is appearing wherever you get your audio podcasts, and you can also find it at the Sue Heilbronner channel on YouTube if you'd rather have a video experience. Today, we're going to be joined by Ellen Kindelsperger, the founder of ChiroLab. And you can learn more about ChiroLab in Boulder, Colorado, if you'd like, at chirolab.com. Now, I'm going to introduce and bring into the room Ellen Kindelsperger. I look forward to this conversation. Ellen, it's so great to see you. And this is one of the first times I've seen you not in your chiropractor or weightlifting office.
Yeah, so nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad to be with you. I don't know that you know how much I admire you as a business leader, really, and the way I see you operate your business. And obviously, this is something I like to pay attention to, given what I do for a living, but I find you to be incredibly unique as a person generally, but also within your practice of being a chiropractor and also a fitness coach. So tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah. So, in a nutshell, I'm a sports chiropractor, meaning that I do adjustments as long as people are comfortable with them. But I also do soft tissue work. So I'm working on the muscles themselves. And then I give all of my patients homework because I strongly believe in the ability to heal yourself at home. And then I'm also a strength coach, which is a virtual experience where I'm training people, I'm giving them their programs, and then they go and do them on their own. I've done personalized training, but I also have programs right now for summer athletes, winter athletes, pre and postnatal, and also muscle mass or bodybuilding programs for people all online.
Awesome. So if you're paying attention, first and foremost, if you know anything about Boulder, Colorado, you know that when you work with a strength coach or a fitness coach like Ellen, she's probably seeing Olympic athletes. She doesn't really talk about that, but I imagine she is. I want to let you know that I am not an Olympic athlete, and I still have been doing her strength training programs for, I don't know, it seems like almost 2 years, and it's just designed beautifully. So this is available to anyone, regardless of where you live, and she's an incredible coach in this regard. Ellen, tell me how you started this business and how your company is organized. And make this brief, but I want to just understand the office you work in, the structure of the people who work adjacent to you. Tell me a little
Right.
about that.
Well, it's definitely changed over the years. I moved to Boulder from the Bay Area in 2017, and it definitely looks different now than it used to. But now I'm inside a clinic called PR Labs, and it's a collaboration of many different kinds of practitioners all under one roof. And so Kate Ripley owns PR Labs, and she has massage therapists, which are with her, so they are employees, but pretty much everyone else is their own business. So I am the ChiroLab. I am a sports chiropractor and strength coach, but then we also have Boulder Sports Physio. So those are PTs. There's Gabe with Sage-Based Healing, which is vibroacoustic light therapy. Dietitians, psychologists, basically anyone and everyone looking to improve the human condition, whether it be physically or mentally, all together.
No wonder. You also have a really fat gym in there that's incredibly efficient and
That's
has
right.
every perfect item in it,
Yeah.
which you generously offer your clients the chance to use on Saturday mornings, working out with you and your dog. Now, this is something you offered I don't know, to me all of a sudden last year or something, and you just started doing it. And I wonder,
Yeah.
what made you make a decision like that? That you work for your time, you are a relatively new mother. What made
I
you
am.
decide to offer your time that way?
It's looping back to what I used to do. So my previous office was inside the Boulder Rock Club, which is a climbing gym. And it was an amazing office because My office itself was inside the weight room, which had its pluses and minuses. You know, there's smells and noises and all that, and but I love the space, and it was so great. And while I was there, I offered a couple times a week for people to come weight lift with me. But then the pandemic happened, and then the coaching side of my business really took off during that time. In fact, it probably doubled. And so that duality to my business worked out really, really well for me because I couldn't see patients at that time. Um, and then after the pandemic, I joined PR Labs, and then I let go of that office. Um, Even though I loved being there, I was pregnant and I'm going to have my daughter who's about to turn 2. And so I let the office go because I was just trying to streamline my life. And so I let go of the in-person training. But this year, I just have this insane craving for community. And the one downfall of virtual training, because I'm not watching people through the computer, I'm sending out their programs. And if they want feedback on form, they can do videos and attach them. I have virtual calls, and we can do it that way. But I wanted in the flesh community hanging out for at least the people in my immediate community. And I don't care that I'm not making money during that time. It feeds me in a certain way. And I know that the people who live in the Boulder area get massive benefit from that too. And my dog's there. And so it's just, in a nutshell, reminiscent of something I used to do.
Huh. What I love about it and why I wanted, this is one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you about your approach to selling and growing your business, is that in my book, Never Ask for the Sale, I talk a lot about what I call top of funnel marketing, which is just pure, really, really early lead generation and marketing. And one of the things I refer to is sort of walking around town marketing. And while
Mm,
this is not marketing to new clients, it's marketing to existing clients. It's really such a
mm,
great example of that. It is 1 hour of your time, but it's incredibly meaningful to me to keep our relationship going and to keep you
yeah,
front of mind when people need a chiropractor or need a strength coach. And in that vein, it really syncs up with my philosophy of marketing, which is show up. You don't need to make money every time you show up, and just be
right.
great and offer something genuine and authentic, and your business will grow from there.
Yeah. And, you know, one thing that's hard for a lot of people with strength training is consistency. And having me feel accountable to me, both through True Coach, because when you don't do your workouts, they turn red, right?
Yeah, it
And
sucks.
especially if you're a type A, making those workouts turn green is being held accountable, but also having something in person that I'm physically there waiting for you, definitely helps people with that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's right. There's another thing I wanted to ask you about, which is it's sort of a meme. It's not a meme, but like it's sort of a common thing people say about people who
Mhm.
are chiropractors. And that is that when you go to a chiropractor, they'll see you for, 5 minutes, and then they will ask you to come once a week or twice a week for the next 6 weeks. And people don't really feel good about that. And that is not consistent with my selling methodology, which is to
Yeah,
sort of stay busy, be a little bit unattached. Passionate ambivalence involves loving your work, but not
yeah,
locking people in or driving revenue that way. You
right.
have never done that. And I just would
Mhm.
love to hear your philosophy of that.
I'm personally not a huge fan of that because, you know, people's lives change as well. So what if you move or, you know, XYZ happens and you can't utilize your $3,000, $5,000 package that you were locked into? And there's also so many different kinds of styles of chiropractic. And maybe that model fits someone else's style better. So someone who's trying to change scoliotic curvatures or hyperkyphosis, hyperlordosis, um, manually trying to change those, would require a lot of adjustments, a lot of appointments. And normally those appointments are only a couple minutes long, and sometimes there's a couple tables all in a row, so you're not alone with your doctor. And not to say that those don't have value, but they might not have value to everyone and not to every condition. Where I come in with the soft tissue, there is no shortcutting soft tissue. It plain and simple, it takes time. And so my appointments have always been longer. So that model just never has worked with what I personally wanted to do. And I agree. I don't like locking people into any situation because then it just becomes awkward. I do that with my strength training, and I also do it with my now memberships I offer for chiropractic care. They're all just 1 month commitments because if you don't want to be here, or I'm not your person, or maybe I'm not the person for your condition, let me help you find someone else. Like, we don't have to continue this if it's not the right fit for any one reason.
Yeah, that feels incredibly generous. And it really, I'm sure you know this, at least for me, it really builds loyalty. And judging by how hard it is to get on your schedule, I'm probably not the only one who feels that way.
Yeah.
You did something recently that really struck me as a, I don't know, it's just like a counter selling device. You
Mm-hmm.
had many people, like including me, on a monthly strength training program that was customized, I guess, to me. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and we communicated through the app, and it was, I don't know, it was $180, I think, per month,
Yep.
something like
190.
that. And you sent out an email and you let all of the people in my situation know that you were initiating a new thing. You were going to make the, correct me if I get this wrong, you were going to make strength training slightly less bespoke, more
Mm-hmm.
general to meet, you had categories of needs. Mine is muscle mass building, avoiding
Mm-hmm.
whatever, avoiding getting old. That's impossible, but at least doing my best.
Yeah.
And you were going to offer this program that everybody in this category would get the same program. And you were reducing my price by $100 or
Mm-hmm.
$80. So my price is now $100 a month.
Yep.
Tell me why you did that, because I am pretty certain I would not have known if you had done that without telling me and kept earning my 180.
And that's what I said to everyone. For most people, you wouldn't know the difference. And so I was starting to have pockets of people who were similar enough that their needs were similar enough to create a program for them. And so muscle masses for bodybuilding, I grouped those people together. Same with all my runners. Winter time is a time to build base, and then summertime is to get light and zippy and more jumping, skipping, that kind of thing, a little more mobility. And so when I was doing purely personalized training, people's programming looked very similar. But the moral side of myself was like, no, everyone needs to have their very specific program. So I'd still make all these changes. And for me, it was just a lot of time to create something very similar for a large group of people. And then I was getting enough clients, strength clients, that when someone would sign up for it, I'd get a little bit stressed because
Yeah.
that's just more on top of what I already have. And so that cuts away my time, and it also cuts down my quality. Um, if you ever train with me, you see that I create most of the videos, and so I want to go back to that and create new videos based on things that I've learned over time and improve the product. And when you have too many people, then that goes down, and my abilities to answer questions within the workouts, answer questions within the chat, and just keep up with the beast would be harder and harder. And so I needed to create a way, or at least an option, because I made it optional. Some people could stay as 100% personalized, but offer something that allows me to continue to make the product better.
Yeah.
And 90% of the people went for it, and not a lot of people noticed a difference in their training. And it allowed me to give 10 people the same program without like that moral um, guilt
Yeah.
of giving the same program.
I love that. And when I think about my own approach to selling and my own approach to building my business, and this is in the book, Never Ask for the Sale, it's not just about building revenue. It often is about building scale or about building systems that give me the kind of life I want. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a big part of passionate ambivalence. What it means to me is I'm not chasing every piece of business. I'm not chasing every higher rate. I'm also considering other factors in terms of creating what for me, and I think you, is a solopreneur business that really serves every area of my life. And I just love this. I love examples that are totally win for all, as a
Yeah.
way of growing loyalty. And that's what this felt like to me. And so I'm really glad it
Yeah.
serves you.
Yeah, it definitely does. And also the price point for some people can be very tough, right? So not only do some people have a personal coach like myself, but they also have a gym membership, or maybe they need to invest in equipment and all that gets really expensive. So I think for at least a small handful of my people, the relief that they felt with programming being a little less expensive was a huge draw as well.
Yeah, I believe you. There's a similar thing you did that I just want to mention because it's just such a good example of win for all business building. You wanted to take photos recently. You wanted some updated photos on your site or for social media marketing, all the things that everybody needs to do now to be out in the world and have their brand in front of people. And you offered all of your clients free chiropractic sessions if they came in
Mhm.
and agreed to be photographed. And I, of course, emailed you right back.
You
And
were the first.
was I? Excellent.
Yeah.
Good timing. That's excellent. I wasn't as fast trying to buy fish tickets when they're in Boulder, so I
Oh,
didn't get those.
all
But at least
right.
I got this.
Me and
And
then fish.
you're totally on par for me. But I also love that. Like you didn't have to do that. I think
Hmm.
people would have come in and just done this, and you could have posed and not offered value, but you chose to offer value. And just how do
Yeah.
you think about that?
Yeah. Well, I think about myself in my own appointment and how would I feel about a photog because I use a professional photographer who unfortunately moved to Europe, but she is wonderful. And I personally wouldn't want a third person in the room that wasn't part of the treatment. And I treat um for paying people, I look at that session as an opportunity to relax and have a private conversation with me. And if you ever walk into my room, it's a very curated room. So I care about the smell and the plants and the ambiance. And when there's a photographer there, it just kind of changes the vibe. And so I personally wouldn't want that in a paying session. But if I can add something like, hey, you get free care and I get something out of this as well, why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant, and I loved being a part of it. I have heard you talk. I'm actually not sure you're going to want to talk about this, but it's been
Mhm.
intriguing to me because of all the things you just mentioned, how unique the experience of working with you is. And I don't want to jinx myself, but ever since I started working with you, I have not had back pain. It's like 5 years. It's pretty
Yeah,
unbelievable.
that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, I'm afraid to say that, but my SI
Knock
just
on
like,
wood.
what's that?
Knock on wood, real quick.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm doing it.
Mhm.
Uh, I have heard you say that you have tried and probably still try, and maybe you already have hired
Mhm.
people to take up some of the space in your space when you're not working actively that day or in other times. And that
Yeah,
it's been hard for you to find people and basically hand off some of your business to other people so you can scale in that way better.
yeah.
Tell me about that challenge.
That has been tough for me. Um, I think because one of the reasons is the sessions with me are fairly long. Um, 20-minute, 40-minute, and then the initial is an hour plus. And so, kind of like a massage therapist, when you find your massage therapist, you kind of don't want to see anyone else. And maybe that's a self-limiting belief. Maybe I need to work on that. Um, but it's a bit to convince people to go to someone else when you've really built a relationship and the skills that I've acquired over the years, especially with the soft tissue that takes a lot of time and understanding and beyond just the adjustments. Now, adjusting is a massive skill as well, and there's definitely a difference between being fresh out of school and 5, 10, 15 years out of there. So it's just hard to convince people to go over. And so whenever I have brought someone on, I make it very clear that yes, hopefully people come see you, but you kind of need to build your own following as well. And one of the obstacles in Boulder, and Boulder is so amazing in so many ways, but it is heavily saturated with body workers. So which is wonderful. But also, you are competing against acupuncturists, massage therapists, PTs who also do manipulations, and then just a wealth of chiropractors. And so it's you gotta dig deep and you gotta put yourself out there. And it took me a solid because I moved to Boulder having known just one person in town. And it took me a good 2 years to start to see some consistency on my schedule. And I'm still looking for someone that has that hunger, I guess, to really put themselves out there, put in the time, and uh, make some social media posts, have some skills there. So I'm still looking. I'm trying not to be jaded, but it's kind of like dating, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exactly like that. I think about this issue often. I have people to whom I refer business, and I think about it exactly like going to bars when I was in my 20s. And
Hmm.
you have I would have a boyfriend at the time, but he wouldn't be there, and I'd just be out hanging out, chatting. Not that that wasn't totally my social scene, but it would happen, thankfully.
Been there.
And I'd meet a guy and he'd be terrific. And I'm pretty good at connecting people. So I'd be like, oh,
Uh-huh.
this guy's great. He is perfect for my friend Beth. But I've just
Hmm.
spent 10 minutes warming up what I'll call a lead, right? This new
Yeah.
man who's here at this bar, and he's hanging around because we're getting along. And then I have to say, oh,
Mm,
but Beth is right over here. She's
yeah.
perfect for you, and she does not have a partner. And that handoff is really, really challenging. One way I
Hmm.
deal with it in my own referral network, and I talk about this in detail in the book, how that's structured economically, how it's structured. So I totally pull back the curtain on that. I think that's not often discussed. Is I
Hmm.
try to keep some people in my network who are at different price points, just earlier in their journey. And
Mm,
so
yeah.
occasionally someone will say, your price is out of range. If I want to come, I want to coach with you every X amount of time. My
Yep.
company won't pay it or I can't afford it. And then I have a fantastic person that I vetted and I get to refer them there. That's helpful.
Yeah. I have definitely thought about that too. And when bringing someone on, let's pretend that they're fresh out of school.
Yeah.
Their skills aren't going to be like mine, or they might be a different technique, right? And so it would feel wrong to have my price point and their price point to be the same if our skills are different.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is definitely something that I've been pondering with my next person.
Yeah. It's interesting working with you. And I think I run into this a lot when I talk to primarily solopreneurs, even if they have a network of people that they work with, as you do often. Um, Like it's amazing to be as special as you are. And it leads to all sorts of things. And I want to just point out in this moment, because I talk about this also in my book, that you're just talking about 2 years to build a flywheel. And I think one thing that
Mhm.
can happen, and by the way, sometimes it has to happen because there's economic need, is people get really impatient. Like, why isn't it working now? I've posted on LinkedIn 3 times and I've told people at 2 dinner parties that this is what I'm doing for a living and I'm not getting any new business. And my answer is, well, you may want to start as a side hustle because you can't be this hungry. You can't be desperate. And
Mm,
it
yeah.
does take time. So I wonder, as you think about those early years, kind of the first 2 years and maybe the next year when things started to gel, how were you holding yourself in your community? Because you were doing something that everyone you meet could benefit from.
Yeah. Yeah. Thinking about my younger self being fresh out of school versus how I am now, I think I'm a lot more chill. And when what's that saying? The more knowledge you have, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
And so I think when I was younger, as most of us do, we think we know everything. And so I think I had the mentality of what if someone comes to me and I don't know what it is? Or what if I don't impress them or XYZ? But now I'm like, I might not be able to help you, but maybe I have a really good referral for you. Um, and just a lot more grounded in what I can and cannot do. And I think just having that gives this air of confidence, or it is real confidence. And there's not as much pressure because not everyone has the answer. And if it's not the right fit, then you push that person on to someone who does have the answer. Does that
Yeah.
answer your question?
Totally. And I also find that just that is passionate ambivalence. Like if you're willing to say, hey, I may not be the best fit for you, or maybe there's someone else, or I don't know if our styles mesh. I don't say those things to be manipulative. I say them when I think they might be true, but they also tend to be really good sales devices because
Yeah.
just like the guy in the bar, if I'm trying to send that guy to someone else, often he's thinking, no, 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 don't dish me. You know, like actually, I want to work with you. And this comes up a lot in my work. And I think it is that grounded confidence that allows you to be passionately ambivalent and allows you to grow your business.
It comes easier as well when you have grown wealth
Of
as
course.
well, right? When you're first out of school and you have no money and you have all this debt, there's definitely well, I need to see this person, that feeling that you need to see these people. But is that the moral thing to do? So I would say it does get easier as you're more confident in your schedule and your business overall.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there anything we haven't talked about that you view as really critical to building your business that you want to
Yeah.
share?
Yeah. It's something I'm currently working on, and that's allocation. I've done this all myself, and maybe it's being a mom, or maybe it's just being a mom has made me realize I need maybe to hire people who know more than I do about marketing, funnels, getting my name out there, but also in the way that I want it to be portrayed and adding value to my message. I actually did a whole ton of marketing research this morning. And so I think I personally need to learn how to allocate because you just reach that wall. And especially like if your schedule's full and you have a lot of people that you're training, then your amount of time that you can put towards the other things goes down. And so um, maybe you need to wear all the hats at the beginning, but at some point you do need to bring on people that you trust and have who can easily share your vision and push you forward.
Yeah, that is a great place for us to pause. Thank you so much, Ellen, for
Yeah,
joining me on the Hey Sue
of course.
podcast. I have a few notes I'm going to share and then we will sign off. You all, thank you so much for being here and joining us again for the new Never Ask for the Sale versions of the Hey Sue podcast. If you like this, please let me know on LinkedIn. Even more, let me know on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts or YouTube with a review. It really, really makes a difference. Finally, if you want to pre-order the book, Never Ask for the Sale, go to www.heysue.com/book. And if you want to learn more about Ellen and her practice, that's at ChiroLab.com. Thanks, everyone. See you next time. Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.